to bring in CNN's Danny Freeman. He's joining us from Westchester, Pennsylvania, just outside the prison where this inmate, this murderer, escaped. This is the first time we actually learned specifically how this guy managed to escape that prison, right?
That's right, Wolf. Listen, CNN reported earlier this morning that this prisoner, Danilo Cavalcante, was able to climb up onto the roof, and that was how he escaped. A law enforcement source told me that earlier. But, Wolf, I mean, we all just watched that video. I don't think anyone expected it to look as stunning as it just did. Danilo Cavalcante crab walking, putting his hands up against one part of the wall, his legs up against the other, and basically shimmying up that wall to the top of the roof. And, Wolf, what's incredibly interesting about this is the prison warden says when he got up there, there is still razor wire on top of that roof, and Cavalcante basically just blasted through that razor wire and ultimately escaped. Now, Wolf, I really want to drill down on this because this is a very important point. To understand this moment that happened 7 days ago at this prison behind me, you actually have to go back 4 months, because 4 months ago in May, another inmate at this prison behind me escaped from the Chester County Prison the exact same way. And I want to actually read from the affidavit that we got our hands on, CNN obtained just a few hours ago. Let me ask you if it sounds familiar. The defendant said he was a rock climber and he was able to climb the wall in the narrow area by putting his legs on one wall and his arms on another wall. And from there, he was able to scale the wall to the roof and pulled himself onto the roof of that prison. Wolf, that is an affidavit 4 months old. Now, the prison says that they put in security measures to prevent that from happening. They added that razor wire. But again, clearly, 7 days ago, that razor wire was not enough. And I should note, of that particular inmate, he was captured about 5 minutes after he got off of the prison roof and started running towards the town. But Cavalcante now has been on the loose for 7 days. And another thing that we learned is that there was a bit of about an hour delay in actually realizing that Cavalcante had escaped, and that is perhaps why this issue has escalated the way that it has. Now, Wolf, one of the other things that we've learned today is that this search area has largely expanded. Instead of being towards the south, where one of the more prominent sightings was on Monday evening, we're now looking towards the east of the prison, kind of the southeast area. And the lieutenant colonel from the Pennsylvania State Police, you just heard right there, Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, he says still emphatically at this point, he believes that Cavalcante is in the area. He said there was a sighting not too far from where we are right here, but again, to our southeast last night. But again, the manhunt still very much underway, and that stunning video, Wolf, I think surprised a lot of folks 7 days after the escape.
Truly stunning video indeed. Danny Freeman, stand by. We'll get back to you. I want to bring in CNN law enforcement analyst Jonathan Wackrow right now. Jonathan, what do you make of this amazing video showing how this murderer actually escaped?
Well, Wolf, first of all, you know, the video that was shown during the press conference really highlights the complexities of tracking down, one, an escaped prisoner, but also that the complexities of the post-incident investigation that is ongoing. And what we saw here was, really heard was two themes right now, focused on internal vulnerabilities at the prison, human error, and external. The threat still remains at large, but they're tracking, they're doing everything they can to track down the suspect. I think the acting warden really tried to get in front of the issue. A lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions by him around what was the focus of this internal investigation. Now, anytime you have an escaped prisoner, there is always going to be an internal investigation. And what you're going to focus on is, were there other intrinsic issues at the prison that were in play here, whether it was a collusive guard, other inmates that were collusive in the escape plan. What failed, though? And I think that's what investigators are looking at right now. And really, when we look at what could fail, it's people, process, and technology. And we started to hear more about the human factor of this, the tower guard specifically. What was going on? Were they sleeping? Were they complacent in their duties? Were they not in the tower? Again, we weren't getting those answers, and those are critical because that role is critical to overseeing that they're the overwatch of that prison yard. Separate, we heard the state police lieutenant colonel really trying to reassure the public, right? Reassure the public that there is action, that they do believe that the escaped suspect is still within their search area. But also asking for the public's assistance. And that is key. As time has gone on, the public's assistance becomes critical in terms of the sightings, the alerting, any type of behavior or of an individual or any type of anomalous activity around residences or businesses need to be reported immediately, because that can be the critical critical clue in actually finding this individual. And final point here, it was raised that communication may be a factor in terms of the interoperability of different law enforcement and response entities. I think that the lieutenant colonel from the state police got ahead of that, saying that currently they have an incident command structure, an ICS, that's in place that should be addressing any type of communication issues that are out there, providing one unified command and strategy to locate this suspect. So a lot coming out of this press conference, but a lot of questions still remain unanswered, Wolf.
Yeah, and one thing that really jumps out at me, Jonathan, I want to quickly get your reaction, is that 4 months earlier, another prisoner actually escaped from this prison doing exactly the same thing that Danilo Cavalcante was doing?
Yeah, exactly. And what we heard is a little bit of that investigation, which was focused primarily on the physical controls, right? So there was a vulnerability that was identified in the physical review of the space. And that's when they, again, just what I heard from that the press conference, that is when they added that extra layer of razor wire. What was not in the calculus during that review was the potential for human error, and how human error could contribute to somebody escaping. That's what happened in this case. Again, focusing in on that tower guard, the roles and responsibilities of that position. How does that play in the overall structure of securing that facility? And I think that's what investigators are going to look at right now.
Yeah, they got to learn the lessons, make sure it doesn't happen again. Jonathan Wackrow, thank you very much for that analysis.